So the pale shadows of the once vibrant communities obliterated by the Holocaust, their hearts warmed to the haunting melodies of the past. These seemingly innocent musical performances, Vorstellungs in Yiddish, were the heart and soul of Nehama Lipschitz' contribution to keeping Jewish culture and identity alive in the communist bloc. We called her the Yiddisher Solovey, the Jewish nightingale. You see the photo on your screen. Please remember it. I will talk about it a little bit later. The petite woman in the black dress with a white shawl with transparent strips draped on the black dress. Please remember the photo. Huh? Nehama Lipschitz was born in 1927 to Zionist intellectuals from Kovno, Kaunas, Lithuania. That's my native city. Her father, Dr. Hersh Lipschitz, was a pediatrician as well as a teacher and principal in Tarbut School, having studied in Lida, in a yeshiva run by Rabbi Yitzhak Reines. Lipschitz was also a skilled violinist, and his wife, Bata, sang endlessly, according to her daughter, Nehama Lipschitz. A lovely Yiddish couple, isn't it, on the screen? Nehama attended the Kaunas Real Hebrew Gymnasium until the outbreak of World War II. That's the same gymnasium that my mother graduated from. And on the outbreak of the World War II, her parents and sister fled east to Uzbekistan ahead of the conquering German army. Again, it's a link to my family. My mother's family also fled to Russia, and later they settled up in Uzbekistan for the 4 terrible years of the World War. Many of her relatives were murdered in Kaunas ghetto or shot to death in the nearby 9th Form. Nehama remembers when they returned in 1946 and they found no one from their extended family. Her mother, Bata, the beautiful woman here on the photo, went to their former maid to ask what had happened to her sister, her mother, all the relatives of hers. And she saw her sister's tablecloth on the table, and the flower vase, and the best sister's outfits on the former maiden. And she fainted. Of course, they lost everybody. They lost their beautiful house in Kaunas, but they were still alive. The years in Uzbekistan were nothing to compare with those sufferings that their relatives, their next to kin, they all fellow Jews in Lithuania experienced here in Lithuania and in Kovno. Returning to Lithuania with her family after the war, Nehama Lipschitz studied in the Vilnius Conservatory of Music and was soon soloing with the Kaunas Opera, then with the Lithuanian Philharmonic in Vilnius, Vilna, and elsewhere. Her roles included the heroine of Rossini's Barbara of Seville and Gilda in Verdi's Rigoletto, but some, and I think many, bristled at seeing a Jewess center stage. Simultaneously, alongside her operatic career, encouraged by her father, a very musical man, Lipschitz began performing for Jewish audiences in Yiddish. But she was restrained to performing only in Lithuania because the Soviet authorities didn't let her to travel and to tour Soviet Union. And only in 1958, she went out on a limb singing in Yiddish in a Soviet song competition and won. It enabled her to tour Soviet Union with her new repertoire. Nehama Yiddish songs transported many in the audience, back to a forgotten world, and they hung on her every move for any additional hint of Yiddishkeit. You remember the photo I asked you to look at. The petite woman in a black dress, draped with a white shawl with transparent strips. Yes, it was a talit, the prayer shawl, and with her eyes closed and her hands holding like in prayer, she reminded us more than only her songs. In 1959, on a tour in Ukraine, Nehama realized her true vocation. That's what she was telling in her memoirs. Singing in Yiddish and Hebrew came naturally to me, but I understood its importance only in 1959 at a concert in Kiev, Ukraine. I sang a lullaby, a viglet in Yiddish, to those murdered at Babi Yar, the killing pits that swallowed up Ukrainian Jewry. Immersed in the music, I didn't notice at first that I was singing so close to where the slaughter actually happened. I will let you listen to some tunes of this viglet. I didn't put the words on purpose. The tune itself is so heart-ready.
Ella, are you able to raise the sound?
This is very bad.
Beautiful.
When I finished the song, remembers Nehama, no one in the audience clapped. There was a tense silence. Suddenly someone stood up and cried, "Why are you sitting there like that? Get up." As one, they all rose from their seats and cheered. That was the end of my classical performances, remembered the singer. I knew then that they weren't the reason I have survived after so many of my relatives and friends have been killed in the Holocaust. With Babi Yar, an industrial dump at that time, and the Holocaust taboo under the Soviet regime, the authorities promptly ordered Lifshitz to eliminate all Jewish nationalist content from her act, but she found a way to get her point across. And she taught Soviet Union restlessly until she made Aliyah in 1969. I am not going to end on that very sad note. Of course, Nehama had very funny melodies on her repertoire too. And one of them I want you to listen today, and following the structure of Veronica's and Rachel's lesson, I also have the words of it. The song is called Yash, that translates vodka or booze, which what is not very popular as far as I know, because here in Lithuania we use the word bromfen or mashke for vodka. But anyway, the story of the song is a story by itself also. It was written in Vorkuta in 1953 by Yossel Kerler, a Yiddish poet who was imprisoned by Stalin despite his fights in World War II and fatally injured. He was sent to Siberia's forced labor camps and had to work in the coal mines, in the pigsties, and so on. But despite all the difficulties, all the difficulties he endured, he wrote this beautiful song, a drunkard song, which my mother didn't approve. She would say, it's not for me, that's not Baiden. Baiden is not talking shikurim. Jews do not have drunkards. But anyway, the song is a drunkard song, and the music was also written by a Soviet musician, by a Soviet composer, Vladimir Shainsky. I must say that most of the popular Soviet songs were written by Jewish musicians. And that's queer because with this anti-Semitism, which was in Soviet Union, the most popular tunes were written by Soviet Jewish musicians, composers, as Shainsky, as Utosov, as Frenkel, and other ones. That was the music they had in their childhood from their mothers, the Wiglitz, the klezmer music, and they put all the tunes in their songs, in their music. So I will try to go to YouTube later, but here are the words of this song, and I'll ask Veronica or Rachel or Rahel, maybe we'll go around the table and read the word. The audience could read the Yiddish and the English translation or just we'll keep it as it is. Veronica?
Unmute.
Rahel?
Let Veronica start.
Yeah, okay, I'm here. Wenn ich nehm a bissele Jasch, oi, oi, finkelt als und glanzt. Gib a Waff, die puste Flasch, oi, oi, und ich geh a Tanz. When I drink a little booze, everything sparkles and shines. I throw away the empty flask and I go to dance. Should I read the rest of it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oi.
Oi, Zuckersis, halt me by the hand. Vlechten beigelig die vis, die neshoma brennt. Oi, oi, sugar sweet, hold me by the hands. Feet braiding bagels, the soul's on fire.
Dan kan ich leinen, Veronica.
Ja, okay.
Okay. Was mir schwiege, wer mir weib, oi, weiß ich sei die Schleck, mit dem ersten keilischig Wein, oi, schwimmen sei weg. Mother-in-law, poor Schwiegermutter, and her wife, who, I don't know, looked up, their only trouble. With my first glass of wine, they just swim away.
Nu,
Oi, Zuckersis, Brida, kommt in Kon, lo mir weißen Wind und Wist, was kapzen kon. Oh, sugar sweet, brothers, come into the circle. Let's show what a poor man can do. Kapzen.
Okay, ich will ongehen. Was mir deiges, wer mir sog, oi, straf nicht für die Reit. Gib mir Gotten you auf Borg. Oi, oi, Gotch a troppen fraid. Why worry, what trouble? May my words not be punished. Lord, lend me, oi, oi, just a drop of joy.
Can Sybil read something, Veronica?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Where is
Will be-
Sibylla?
Oi, Tata, zucker zis. Sredere zich draait. Skosten sores halb ummitst. Spring ze zesde heit. Oi, Tata, father, sugar sweet. The circle is turning. Troubles half price for free. Jump until you burst. Wenn ich neem a bissele jasch. Oi, oi. Bin ich gar nicht der. Ich gebe a warf die pushte flash. Oi, oi. Es ich gehe a share. When I take a little drink, oi, oi. I'm not the same. I throw away the empty flask, oi, oi. And I dance a share, a scissor step dance.
Thank you so much. It was very, very nice. I didn't make the vocabulary as our skillful teachers do, but I maybe will explain. There are some words of Slavic origin, Kelishek and Borg. Kelishek means a goblet, and Borg is, as you see in the English verse, to lend. Borg and Kelishek are really Slavic words lent from Polish maybe origin or something like that. Now, as I see the sound is not so good, maybe I will ask Hajira to put on the YouTube.
Yeah, I'll show the YouTube video now.
Okay, then I stop sharing my screen and I'll asking Hajira to enjoy the song.
Wenn ich nehm a bissele Jaschon, finkelt alt zum Glanz, finkelt alt zum Glanz. Nipp a vor die Puste Flaschon, und ihr geh a Tanz, und ihr geh a Tanz. Oi, oi, Zucker süß, halt mir bei die Hand, schlecht weggedacht, die Fies, die ne schon ne brennt. Oi, oi, was mir schwieger, wenn mir neu wohnt. Weiß ihr, seid ihr schlecht, weiß ihr, seid ihr schlecht. Mit dem ersten keirischen Queinhorn schwimmen sie ja weg, schwimmen sie ja weg. Oi, oi, Zucker süß, Brüder, kommt die Korn. Lass mir weisen, wenn du weißt, was da klopfen kann. Oi, oi. Was mir deiges, wenn mir Sorg hat, straf nicht vor die Reit, straf nicht vor die Reit. Gib mir Gott ein Juh auf Borg hat, Gott scha trocken freit, Gott scha trocken freit. Oi, was den Zucker süß, zrede lese dreit, skosten vor es halben süß, springt es efter heit. Oi, oi, Zucker süß, skosten vor es halben süß, springt es efter heit.
Thank you, Hajira. I think you have enjoyed the singer as much as I did, and it was the melodies of my parents' house I grew up on, and I was happy to share it with you. And I thank you for having not a native speaker for half an hour to listen to. So thank you so much for listening, and maybe you have some questions. I will be happy to answer.
Ella, first I would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I had a bit of trouble coming in, so I didn't get you the first maybe 5 minutes of your talk. But the power of Yiddish song, you have identified very, very well for us. It has a very evocative way of reaching out, which nothing else can do.
Yes.
And this is very much what happened in Cape Town as well, which I'm very proud of with the Yiddish Song Festival. That Yiddish song has got, I always say, has a mind of its own. You can think of one thing, but it does what it wants to do, which is to connect with the soul. And it's very special. But also what I found interesting is you remarked about how many songwriters are Jewish in Russia, but this is exactly the same as the American experience. There wouldn't be a modern American musical without the Jewish songwriters and composers. So it's interesting that it's a global phenomenon and not just in Russia or America. So thank you so much, and thank you for sharing those songs. I wish you could have more of them. And perhaps one day we should focus. I'm going to suggest this to our academy, our deans of the academy, Veronica and Sybil and Rochel. Maybe we can focus one day on Yiddish song in particular and go through some of that history. It would be fascinating. But also, while I'm talking, I just want to say a very special hello to someone who's here from London, a very old and dear friend, almost my sister, which is Sorrow. Hello, Sorrow. I'm just taking advantage of this. And I also would like to reach out to Adele Saban. Adele, Mazel tov to you on your daughter's wonderful achievement.
Thank you. Thank you very much to everybody. We're very proud of it. Thank you, Philip. Thank you. My daughter-in-law, Cara.
What did she do?
What did she do? We couldn't
Sorry,
hear.
can we just speak about Ella at the moment before we Adele, we are so thrilled with your daughter-in-law's prize, and we will speak about it, but before we go on off at a tangent, I really would like to say a few words to Ella and to say thank you so much, Ella, for your beautiful presentation. And I'd like to quote you, your very words, when you discovered your family, because this is what you said on Facebook. When I woke up this morning, I knew I had my sister, my husband, my daughter, and my 2 cousins in America and their families. But when I went to sleep that night, and that means that during the course of that day, this is my words, Ella discovered through genealogy that she indeed had a huge family spread throughout the world. And so, to quote Ella again, when I went to sleep that night, I realized that we were not alone, that we had a family all over. And we're so blessed to have you in our family, Ella, you and your sister Asya. We can't imagine what you've been through. And thank you for just giving us this wonderful opportunity. And you did it in the most professional way. And I'm sure everybody was touched by your humility and your wonderful way of doing things. I had the pleasure of meeting you in New York, you and your sister, at our family gathering at the reunion. And it's something that I shall always treasure and remember. And I hope you'll do more programs for us, because I'm sure there's lots that you can share with us. And I want to thank all the people who joined us today, other than the Yiddish group. Thank you for coming, and I'm sure you were touched as we were all. And not to take away the glory from Adele, and I'm sure she will explain to you how her daughter-in-law fared in the Jewish Achievers Awards. But I'm sure there are people who would like to speak to Ella and make some comments. So thank you once again, Ella.
Okay, can I speak, please?
Sure,
Ella,
Veronica.
I wanted to say to you, Ella, that Nechama Lipschitz went to Israel in 1969. I went to Israel on Aliyah in 1968. So she was very, very familiar to us, you know, on TV, on the radio, etc., etc. She's very, very well known altogether. I'm sure on YouTube one finds lots and lots and lots of clips of her singing, and it was just wonderful. I didn't know at the time. I was also new to Israel in 1968, so I never knew that she had that history. And I just thought your presentation was absolutely wonderful in every way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm happy you liked it.
Yeah, you know, I love singing, so
She is very professional. Yeah, she's skilled.
yeah.
Ella, für uns ist aber besondere COVID. I think it's enough English now. Für uns ist aber besondere COVID, auch zu bedanken. Und es ist ein COVID für uns, was du kommst von Kovna, und ich barim sich, aböst, allemal, zu der ganzen Welt, wenn ich kenne. Wir haben Menschen von London und von Israel und von Kovna. Last but not least. Für uns ist ein besonderer Covid, weil wir alle wissen, als Menschen in Afrika stammen von Liter.
Ja, das ist
in
Deutschland. Die Welt
Okay.
weiß nicht, ein bisschen von Liter. Ein bisschen von Liter.
Hello, can I please say something?
Yes, I think we must also meet
Ella,
Veronica.
just
after
quickly,
the program.
Ella, it was absolutely brilliant, and your English is outstanding, and it was so moving and so heartbreaking of what happened to all these wonderful, good people, talented, good people. But I wanted to say that it resonated with me when you said that Nechama, or was it Nechama, who landed up in Uzbekistan?
They were refugees during the World War II.
Right. So now that resonated with me, because my late cousin in Israel, the daughter of my father's brother, their family left. They ran away from Poland in 1939, went through the Ukraine, came up to Russia. They were also put into the Siberian camp. And the mother had to make soldiers' uniforms. The children were somewhere else, and the father was sent away. Nachman was sent away for 6 months. They didn't know if he was going to come back. And eventually they landed up also in Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
So they landed in Uzbekistan, and the one son, Gad, who was not the oldest, he was the middle son. He was the only one with blonde hair and blue eyes. And he and his father used to make sandals out of leaves. And because he had blonde hair, they used to send him into the city because they thought he was Christian. And he would sell the sandals, and then he would get flour. He would swap it for flour from the Christian people, and then come back and then make little pretzels and things like that. So then eventually they landed up in Israel, of course. So that's my story.
Thank you, Hilda. Adam.
Can I also say something?
Please.
Batya here. Can I say something?
Yes,
Sure,
please,
Batya.
Batya. I think you've got a similar experience.
Ja, well, Ella, a großer Dank. You know, I enjoyed it so much. You've actually made a difference to me today with your wonderful sharing. And just very, very briefly, my parents spent 4 years in Uzbekistan. So it's interesting to hear that there were other people who had that experience. Thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, Shabbat.
Wer will noch etwas sagen? So, have you a say in it, sir? Does anybody want to talk from the next page? Wir haben eine participants, it's the 60 Menschen, Veronica Zibela, I think das ist, wie sagt man, that's a record. Das ist, das ist a CD.
Before we, sorry, before you go further, there are quite a few thank yous in the chat, so I think we'll read them. Thank you, Ella, how privileged we all are to have you on the webinar, and that's from Joan Krupp in Cape Town. Then so well presented, Ella, and some of us know so little about the Soviet period behind the Iron Curtain. 1,000 thank yous from Aaron Gersh. Maureen Hellman says, thank you, Ella, wonderful and moving presentation, as well as informative. It meant so much in so many ways. So Ella, I think you've touched so many of us, even those of us who don't really understand Yiddish, although we're getting to understand more every week. It was a real privilege for us to have heard it, and thank you so much. We really would like to use this presentation and maybe put it to a wider audience at a later stage. I'm sure that there are others that would like to hear it, and I apologize for not being here at the beginning, but I had something that I had to attend to. Anyhow, I'm sure we've still got plenty of time this morning. Move on.
Are we going to go into breakout rooms, or how are we going to?
Well,
Sybil, what do you want to do?
Yeah, we can go into the breakout rooms, but before we do, I wanted to, I felt bad about taking the thunder away from Adele. So Adele, Mazel Tov, Adele's daughter-in-law was one of the recipients of an award at the Jewish Achiever Award ceremony last week, and well-deserved, hardworking. But I also want to put a plug in for Adele, because she's the most exemplary mother-in-law. She's not the typical mother-in-law that you read about in the comics. She is just the most, and so supportive of her daughter-in-law. And I think much of the achievements is due to Adele always being there for Cara when she needed her. So
in
Adele,
which category, sorry, which category was she awarded?
Adele, what category?
It was the Europe card. They give an award every year.
Woman
and it was
Achiever.
for women's achievement. Yeah, she's really done very well. We're proud of her. And thank you, Sybil, for those lovely words. I really do appreciate it. But I know Ella's a lady of the moment, not me. And I want to say, Kol hakavod, Ella, it was a wonderful presentation. I've heard Sybil talk about you before in the past, and it's so nice to have you with us always on a Friday. So, Kol hakavod to you.
There is one other something in the chat from Sorrel Kerbel to Ella. Shannon Dunk, Ella, I want to ask you whether you knew my mother, Nechama Meirovitz, or her sister, Liebe Brick Barak in Kovna.
Yes, I got it in the chat, but I will answer Sorrel.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I didn't know them. I was born well after the war, and in the 60s, most of Kovna Jews emigrated to Israel, so I didn't have any links to Jewish community, almost any links to Jewish community. There were no Jews in Kovna. They are not here.
Ella, wie viel Jiden seien jetzt in Kovna? Sorry.
As a civil servant, I had an access to the registers, but there is nothing mentioned about the ethnicity of Lithuanian countrymen, so I can't say exactly, but maybe 100 from mixed families, not more. With 125,000 before the World War II.
Ella, you must have known Simon Davidovich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Avesholem.
Yes, he was my my guide when I went to Lithuania for the first time in 2013, and he was wonderful. Very sad that he died.
Yeah.
How old would he have been when he died? You would know. Was he in his 50s, 60s?
I think he was born in 1961, maybe, so
60s.
60s, maybe.
Just
Maybe late
60s.
50s, maybe late 50s.
Good. I think we must break out and start our program.
Yeah, it's theoretically, we've only got 10 minutes, you know, it's,
15.
is it 15 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think we can carry on a bit. I'm sure nobody's in a mad rush because it's a lovely program and it's informative and it's light. We can perhaps leave the music if we don't manage that, or do one.
I was actually thinking of using the music and leaving the rest, but anyway.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Sorry, I would suggest you've had such a light-hearted and or such an interesting morning. Why don't you have the music now and hold this over till next week?
Okay, but can I make another suggestion that we don't go into breakup rooms? We do the two songs
Agreed.
together as a group.
Yeah.
And that'll be Shabbostic and be very special and a lovely way of rounding up, because Ella's talk was so much about song. And I think the way of keeping.
Good.
Okay, Sybil, I know that I've got a couple of songs and clips. Have you also got songs?
Yes, but I think we'll do your songs first.
Okay.
The song I've got, if we've got time, is Arum Dem Fire.
Okay, I've got a wonderful little clip about 3 little girls speaking Yiddish in Israel, you know, recently, and they sing the song Margaritkelech, and then I've got Chava Alberstein singing Margaritkelech are daisies. And then I've got a surprise for all of you. I've got a clip of Iva Joffe singing Romania. So I think that would be a way to end.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Whoever's going to do the
Veronica?
Monique,
So
would you
the
do
clip
it,
with the girls, yes, I'll be on it. But the clip with the girls, is that in the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, but I
Okay.
think I will read because I just want to explain about the little girls, and there's also Hebrew in it. So I also want to just give you an idea what the Hebrew means. I don't know how many people understand Hebrew here.
It's a video.
It's not very clear.
Meine nehmen. It's not that.
Yeah, one back, or 2 back, please. And the next, okay, but it's very unclear. I really can't read it. I can't read. Can anybody else? I can read from my.
Impossible.
Yeah, can you make it clearer? Is it possible, please, Monique?
No, I can't change it. Because this is the way it comes out in the PowerPoint. I can't change.
I don't know
the
why,
font
because there's no, there's no difference to any. I do the same every week.
Sometimes it's the Wi-Fi that's wobbly, wherever it sometimes happens that way. So perhaps read it from your
Okay, I'll read it
script.
from the thing. The clip is from Israel, from Televisia, okay? Und ein klein Mädel, sie sagt, meine nehmen, der Tata ruft mir Ketzele, der Mama ruft mir Neshoma, which means my soul. Der Seide ruft mir Fegele, die Bobbe mein Nechoma. Und alle die Bob mein Nechoma is my comfort. Alle in einem, which means together, sagen sie, bist süß wie Honig, honey, bist schön wie a Blum, bist gut wie a Malach und scheinst wie die Sonne. They then go on to, I really need, it's a little clearer, I really need, because I didn't put on my thing, the person interviewing them then goes on to ask the girls in Hebrew why did they want to learn Yiddish, and they say, as I said, it's no use my saying to you in Hebrew. Was willen sie lernen sich Yiddish? Und einer sagt, als sie will lernen sich noch eine Sprache. She would like to learn another language. Und einer sagt, als sie lernt sich, was sie hat lieb die Mama Sonia, because it was one of the children's mothers that got these little girls learning Yiddish. And the mother is sitting there in the background. Oh, there you've got it. One says she wants to learn another language. Another says it was because she loves Sonia, the mother. He asks, then the person, the interviewer asks her where her parents come from. And she says, there's one little girl, very funny. She says, mein Tata is von Scotland. Her father is from Scotland. Und mein Mama von Taiman, von Yemen. Und zij reden Yiddish in the heim. Und Avada obviously, sie sagt nein. Und zij fragen, und als fragt die Mama, wir dürfen reden Yiddish in Israel. Should we be speaking Yiddish in Israel? Und sie sagt, nein, sie ist ein Zionist und wir müssen reden Hebräisch. Der Sprach von dem jüdischen Volk. Und, und sagt komisch, als ist sehr, freut sich. He is very happy and relieved. Wir dürfen reden Hebräisch in Israel. Und nachdem, sie machen einen kleinen Schmus, die Kinder. Und es ist sehr, sehr, sehr süß. So then, anyway, I think that's enough. And it's a very simple conversation. I think you'll understand it. Was to Kroivim in Yerushalayim, Yoich Choba Mumma, Vihais Mumma, etc., etc. And then they sing the song Margarit Kelach. I do have the words of Margarit Kelach, but do we really need it, or should we just listen to it?
Just listen.
I think so. I think let's hear the clip. Okay, here. There.
Meine Namen. Der Tate ruft mich Kätzele, die Mama ruft mich Neshome, der Seide ruft mich Fegele, die Bobbe meine Chome. Und alle in einem sagen sie, bist süß wie Honig, bist schön wie a Blum, bist gut wie a Malach und scheinst wie die Sonne.
Was hast du dem Seide gesagt?
הוא התרגש והוא קצת בכה.
כן, אז את שמחת שעשית לו את זה. הכרנו את שרון, נכיר עכשיו את שאר הבנות, בבקשה.
אביגיל. הדס.
ובצד השני?
שירי. מיכל.
יופי. אביגיל, למה את התחלת בעצם ללמוד יידיש?
אני רציתי ללמוד עוד שפה.
סתם ככה? ואת הדס?
כי אני אוהבת את סוניה.
זאת הסיבה? בבית אצלך מדברים יידיש?
לא.
מאיפה ההורים שלך?
אבא שלי מסקוטלנד ואמא שלי מתימן.
נו, אז עכשיו אולי הם ידברו ביניהם יידיש. אתם יכולות, אתם כבר למדתם מספיק שאתם יכולות לשוחח ביניכן? כן? יופי, נשמע.
שרון, ziehst du Korben in Jerusalem? Jo, ich ob a Mumme. Wie heißt dein Mumme? Mein Mumme heißt Noah. Was tut Noah? Noah ist eine Lehrerin von Musik.
sehr schön. סוניה, אם זה היה תלוי בך, עם יד על הלב, את היית מחליפה את העברית ביידיש?
בשום אופן לא. אני ציונית, ואני חושבת שעברית צריכה להיות השפה של העם היהודי.
יופי, אז אם ככה אני נרגעתי, ובנות אני מבין שאתם גם יודעות לשיר ביידיש, נכון? אז בואו נשמע, בבקשה.
מהר. לחייך.
Begel beim Teichel, dort seinen gewachsen,
הנה הרשטיק עם האקורדיון, תודה לסוניה והבנות, גוט אובנט und soll sein gut.
Oh mein.
Yeah. And the next one is, I've got Chava Alberstein singing the same song, if you'd like to hear it sung professionally. It is a beautiful song. So if we could go back to the next clip. There we go.
In Wälder beim Teiche dort sinnen gewachsen, Margaritkelech elend und klein. Wie kleininke Sohnen mit weißinke Strahlen, mit weißinke Tralalala. Gegangen ist Chavale, still und verchudend, zerlosen die goldblonde Zepp. Das Herzland bläust und gemurmelt verchudend, das Liedele tralalala. Da kommt ihr entgegen, a Bocher, a Schwarzer, mit Locken, mit Schwarze wie Pech. Flammt mit die Augen und entfährt ihr lustig und entfährt ihr tralalala. Was suchst du, Mädel? Was hast du verloren? Was willst du gewinnen in Groß? Ich such Margaritkes, verreutelt sich Have, verreutelt sich tralalala. Du suchst noch und ich hab schon Tage gefunden, die schönste Margaritke in der Wald. A Margaritke mit Zepp und mit Augen Saphiren, mit Eigelach tralalala. Nein, ich hab schon Margaritkes. Ich hab sich vergessen. Ich such da nicht weit, ist a Qual. Der Qual ist geschlossen und mir bleibst du durstig beim Quellchele tralalala. Ich will gar nicht trinken. Ich such mir a Schotten. Die Sonne backt da rein, so heiß. Meine Haare sind schwarzer und kieler wie Schottens in Wäldele tralalala. Ah, lass mich, mein Tor nicht. Die Mama sagt mein Tor nicht. Mein Mama ist alt und ist beis. Wo Mama, was Mama, das sind nur Bäumer, nur Bäume lacht tralalala. Man sieht, keiner sieht nicht. Man hört, keiner hört nicht. Das Wäldel ist blind und gedicht. Umarme mich, Süße, du siehst, ich bin ruhig, ich kusch dich nur, tralalala. Du liebst mich, ich lieb dich, du schämst dich, ich schäm mich. Lieb mich und schäm sich und schweig und seh, wie es mischen sich pechschwarze Kreuzen mit goldene Tralalala. Und Chavale sitzt noch in der Wald. Sie guckt in der Weitens und murmelt verchulend das Liedele. Tra-la-la-la. Sie guckt in der Weitens und murmelt verchulend das Liedele. Tra-la-la-la-la.
Sehr schön.
Sehr schön.
Ja, sehr, sehr schön. Und zum Sof, wir haben unsere eigene Eiver, wo singt Romania. Willst du lernen die Wörter erstens? Was meinst du, Rochela?
Ja, wir können
Ja,
lernen.
was nicht, ja. So, Monique, if we could get to their words before the next song. The next song will be sung by Ivor Joffe live, but we can read the words first, if we can read it on the screen. Actually, I've got the words also in the...
Yeah. Good.
Okay, shall we start reading it, Rochela, so that it goes...
I'd like Philip also to read a bissel, because
Yeah,
he's the
okay.
Yiddish Song Festival representative.
Oy vey.
But at the moment, it's not clear.
It's not clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Ich habe es da. Hey, Veronica, doesn't matter. Just
Okay,
read
I'll
what
have to, oh, there it is. Romania, 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 Romania. Gewen amol a land, a zisse a scheine. Romania, 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 Romania. Gewen amol a land, a zisse a feine. Dort zu wohnen is a Vergnügen, was das Herz Glust kennst du kriegen, a Mammeligele, a Pastramele, a Kamatschele, und a Gläsele Wein. I was going to look up what those, exactly the nature of those foods, but I didn't get to it. I was meeting with a publisher and I was
It's
very...
a pudding made of corn flour, Liga.
Yeah.
And a pastramela is a pastrami.
Pastramele. And a Kanatschele?
Ich weiß nicht, ich weiß Ella.
Amalika is not corn flour, it's like mealie meal.
No, the Weinreich book says pudding made of corn flour.
Yeah, and I also found that on the internet.
It's
Corn flour and millie meal is the same thing.
It comes
They're both
from,
corn.
comes from
One's finer than the other.
It's not corn flour in texture. You can't compare corn flour to mealie meal in texture. So
it's a bit rougher.
Okay, can we just read the song?
Yeah. In Romania is doch Git. Von kein Deigels weiß man nicht. Wein trinkt man überall. Me verbeißt mit Chatchaval. Ay, digga di dam. Ay, in Romania life is good. No one knows of care. Everywhere they're drinking wine and having a bit of Chatchaval. Ay, digga di dam. Okay,
Philip, you want to read the next one?
Okay. Ay, Romania is doch Git. Von kein Sorgen weiß man nicht. Wein trinkt man, schmeckt sein Spett, mir verbeißt a Castrovet, hey diggy dum. In Romania life is good, no one knows of a worry. They drink wine, though it's late, and have a bit of castrovots, hey diggy dum. I know what castravot is, but I'm sure it's delicious.
Oh, castrovet, yeah. Okay, the next page, it's quite a long song. The next page.
Getting there.
Okay.
What does it?
Okay, Aaron, you want to read the next verse?
But the top is a bit...
Yeah, yeah, I'll read that first line.
Okay.
It is in the...
Oi, gewaltig. Ich wärme siege. Ich lebe nur Brinze, Mama Liga. Ich tanze und frei sich bis der Stelle. Wenn ich es a Patlazelja, Zing ma tai idli dam. Ai, es ist a machaya, besser kann nicht sein. Ai, a vernigen is nor Rumänisch Wein. Oh, my help, I'm going crazy. I care only for Brinks and Mama Liga. I dance and jump at the ceiling when I eat a patlagella. Sing ma ta yiddly dum. What a pleasure. What could be better? Oh, the only delight is a Romanian wine.
Okay, it's gone. Yeah, it's gone a little. It's okay. Linda, do you want to read a verse? Linda? Linda, who bist du?
Niet do.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, okay, Linda.
Die Romeinen trinken Wein, wenn essen Mama liegen. Wer es kischt sein eigen Wein, I can't see. Jene is ne sugar. Zet zing ma ta yidli dan. The Romanians drink wine and eat Mama liga. Whoever kisses his own wife, he is ne sugar. Zet zing ma ta yidli dan.
Okay, the last verse is a bissel schwer, so I don't know what language it is when it says Jokom Purken min Schmoya. Steht und kuscht die Kechena Chaya. Ungeton in alte Schrabbes, macht a Kugel likovet Shabbos. Setzt tai te diddly dam. Jokom Purken min Schmayo. Stand and kisses the cook Chaya. There's something in the way. Dressed in old rags, makes a kugel for Shabbos, sit, tie, diddly tum.
Well, that's Min Shemaiah is from heaven.
Yes, now I do realize that, but Jokom Porken, was is das?
Jokom Porken.
Abracadabra.
Yeah, it could well be. Okay, and now we can listen to...
In the Hanukkah song, there's the word purkan. I'm trying to think. Da, la, 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 la,
Okay,
la.
now
The word purkan comes. Maybe it means a miracle. Maybe it means a miracle from heaven.
Ja, es ist nicht wichtig.
But this is a miracle.
Romania, 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 Romania. Gewinn amor, a land, als ist sehr schöne. Romania, 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 Romania. Gewinn amor, a land, als ist sehr feine. Dort sie wollen is auf Fargen liegen, wo's du's hast, musst du die kennst du kriegen. A Mama liegele, a Pastrabnele, a Karnatzele, und a Gläsele Wein. Hey! Heute hier um Minne trinken Wein und essen Marmelige. Wer ist kusch sein Egen Weib, wenn jeder ist Maschiga? Sing ma ta diddly dum, sing ma ta diddly dum, sing ma ta diddly dum, sing ma ta diddly dum. Als essen man Paye, essen kann ich sein. Oh ja, fucking Goodness, Lord, und Menschen schreien. Heute hier um Minne trinken Wein und essen Marmelige. Wer ist kusch sein Egen Weib, wenn jeder ist Maschiga? Sing ma ta diddly dum, sing ma ta diddly dum, sing ma ta diddly dum, sing ma ta diddly dum. Als essen man Paye, essen kann ich sein. Oh ja, fucking Goodness, Lord, und Menschen schreien. Reihe und das Stabes macht der Kuhle Kab und Schabes. Setz da diddly da, setz da diddly da, setz da diddly da, setz da diddly da. Schon mal ein Stück Frühstück in der Reihe und der dunklen alten Stabes macht der Kuhle Kab und Schabes. Setz da diddly da, setz da diddly da, setz da diddly da, setz da diddly da. Als ist in der Reihe.
Fantastic.
Can we just go back to the, yeah, dank.
Sehr schön.
Well, it just shows you, we just, at the end of the year, we gedacht haben, our guest Redderin, we needed a guest speaker, and she's given sehr fein, Veronika, ich mein.
Wunderbar.
Sehr fein. Und es ist wunderbar zu sehen, wir haben gehabt, knapp 60 Menschen, die sind gekommen. And Sibylla, you can't break out anymore. It gives us confidence when there's so many people. We can't break out. I asked Asya, the one who does California, what is a breakout room? I didn't want to say it's a brochene Zimmer. So she said, let's just use the word Zimmerlach, little room.
Little room, yeah.
And let's use the word Zimmerlach. So I thank Veronika for the fine music was das gefunden. And I just wanted, Ella is da, the Chabadniks haben sehr lieb, ja, Schwodka, sehr lieb. Yes, the Chabadniks trinken vodka, sie haben sehr lieb. Plus whiskey, you know? I nearly said Mashke and Brom, well, a Mashke, yeah. Ja.
Und Wodka, sie rufen Wasser. Es ist wie, sie trinken es wie Wasser. Wodka ist Wasser.
Sie trinken es
wie Wasser. A schönen Dank zu allem. Today, Ella, a special thank you to you. A große schönen Dank. And zu allem, a good Shabbos, a good Woche. And I think some of us have got to go do some other things, but just this is a wonderful way of being together and how Yiddish is keeping us together. By the way, when you say 60, there are a lot more because quite a few people, there are 2 people at each station. So it's very, very special that in Drum Africa, we're having this with wonderful guests from all over the world. So shame Dank to everybody for being here today.
And Iva was wonderful. Iva was wonderful.
Very, very special. I must just mention, every time I hear about Chava Elfstein, the one song that I always remember is Mein Schwesterchen mit der schwarzen Steppe. And one day I'm afraid, unashamedly, I will say that every time I hear it, I have tears in my eyes. Yeah. It's just the most beautiful song. And she sang it, if I remember correctly, at Spear in Cape Town when she was
Yes.
That's the one I sang, if you recall. Yes, yes.
Yes.
That's the one you did very beautifully.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to just tell you something about that song, because it was actually in this Asia's, Rochele, you weren't there because of your load shedding, you couldn't be there. But there is a YouTube clip of the author. The author of that song is a famous Yiddish poet called Bunim Hela. Needless to say, he went to live in Israel. And it's his sister, Chaya, who was killed. And there is a clip of not him, he's sitting there, and next to him is his second wife. I think the first wife died, and she actually reads the poem, and Bunim is sitting next to his sister and shedding tears. It's just quite something. Yeah, because I mean, it's not just a made-up song to represent all the Chayas that were killed, but it's real for the person who wrote that song. It was his 10-year-old sister that was killed by the Nazis. So it's quite something. One can.
Veronica, we catered for Roberta, Yerushalmi, from Dorton in Tzofen Eretz Israel, and we catered for you, especially in Ivrit, for the kleine Meidlach, and the interviewer is gewesen sehr glücklich, als sie will reden nur Ivrit, rak Ivrit.
Ja, avada rak Ivrit.
Ivrit,
daber Ivrit.
So we do
Shalom Dank, everybody, and I'm sorry, but I must say, Shalom Dank, and we'll see each other next week.
Diana,
Good Shabbos.
Goodbye. Diana, I think it was Naomi Stone who I think she was the one, I can't see any messages here, who wrote to say that she'd missed it because of a time change. And then she asked what time we started. We said 10 o'clock. And then she said, oh, I see you've changed your time, like summertime. But we haven't changed our time.
No,
They've changed.
Okay, Hilda, I have communicated with her.
Okay.
She knows now we're 2 hours ahead of London or UK.
Okay. And we want to give everybody a chance to say something. So please, can you just put your hand up so there's not a balagan? And this is the time for chatting. Keine darf mit machen achala, keine darf mit machen cholent. And there's Diana.
Okay, may I just say something, and then you can chat with pleasure. So Naomi, I believe that they did make a recording of this morning. So you will be able to go onto our YouTube site and view it afterwards once we've downloaded it. So with pleasure, you will be able to do so. And then just that in our health matters on Monday, I've secured a gentleman called Ian Wheeler, who lives a holistic lifestyle, and he's going to be talking on metabolic balancing, homeopathic holistic lifestyle, which should be really very, very interesting. And that's at 2 p.m. our time on Monday afternoon. And don't forget, of course, in the morning, 9:30, we've got Steve Sherman with his computers and cell phone updates and helping us work out how to stay abreast of what's going on in the world, and then exercises at 11 o'clock. But I will shortly be sending out the weekly program. Okay, you're welcome to chat.
Anna, before you go, I just want to say, I'm talking English, you lucky, Diana. And thank you, not only to you, but to your whole CJSA staff. And we know that it's one thing being the teacher and being able to teach Yiddish or have a class, but you can't do it without technology in this day and age, and a coordination. And I know Veronica, Sybil, and I are more than appreciative for everything that your crowd does for us.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And we appreciate you. You don't believe it, but we really do. So to everybody,
I hope so.
Enjoy your chatting.
Diana.
I know you do.
Diana, when we went to Cape Town for Ottazay, I either got wine, l'chaim, or biscuits. Now, how are you going to get that to me?
I can make a plan.
Okay.
Sure, I'll make a plan.
Yeah, I think you also got a plane trip, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that was besides the point. I enjoyed the
Yeah, I haven't had a plane trip yet, Diana. The Kaplan Center
Okay.
gave me a ticket. By the way, the Kaplan Center gave me a ticket to Australia.
Bully for the
Wow.
Kaplan Center.
Lovely.
No,
Diana.
I did a
Yes.
6-month job of work for them, but yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Diana, won't
Yes,
you
Hilda.
double check with Naomi? Ask her what the time is now in London.
It's
Because
okay,
I don't
Hilda.
is there really a 2-hour difference?
It's 2 hours.
2 hours
2
behind.
hours. We are 2 hours ahead of
2
London.
hours.
Yeah.
She knows. She's aware of it now.
Okay.
9:20 in London.
Are
you
they
need to
2 hours
do-
behind us now? Okay.
Sybil, are any of your people wanting to say something from your group? Maybe.
Well, they must indicate. I can't see you.
Tsipi,
Adele, our loyal Adele's always there, bless her. We love her to bits. Dilly. And
Phyllis,
I can't see everybody.
Hi, Dave, by the way. I haven't said hello to you.
Dave is on the second page, Veronica.
No, I've got him. He's muted. He just says, hi, Dave.
It's
Hi,
a
And
hi,
hi,
Veronica.
Muriel.
I hope people will come, even though we haven't got a speaker every week, but just to enjoy the class. I see a lot of new people's names, and it would be lovely, like that, Cheryl, to have you. And Harold brought 2 other doctors. Harold, what are you giving us here? Noch a medical conference. Harold Price mentioned 2 of his friends are coming. Harold, wo bist du?
Ich bin da.
Okay, no, we can't see your shine upon him.
Ich weiß nicht, was ist passiert.
Okay.
With the
So,
camera.
Mary Ann and Deborah, I saw on the other page.
That's right. Mary Ann
Yes.
is definitely here. Yes, and,
And
Deborah.
Ruth was with us. I couldn't see everybody, but it was
Leah
really lovely.
Shanani. Leah is a Durbanite. Leah, aren't you a Durbanite? The Shananis are a big family. Leah Shanani, ich gedenk Tsipi. Do you remember? Who is Tsipi? Tsipi's man is given a very famous.
Linda,
Tsipi.
sie ist a Durbanite, sie ist mein guter Freund.
I dank Tsipi. I dank that you brought her. I dank. And did you enjoy it, Tsipi?
Sehr, sehr fein. Ist gewinn sehr fein. Jotze mir nach klar. Euch gewöhnlich. Euch gewöhnlich.
Good, I dank. Thank
Good.
you, Tsipi.
Good, good.
Everybody bring somebody,
It's been masking.
Veronica.
It's been
Good.
masking.
Diana, we'll have 5 pages, not 3. Today we
Okay.
had 3 pages. So,
Can I join?
and there's dort sits Mr. Paul Rome, unser Schlafdoktor. If he can unmute, he's useless at technology, but he's a brilliant anesthetist. Paul, du willst etwas sagen? I don't know if he can unmute himself. Paul, unmute. Dann kannst du etwas sagen.
Can I accept a muzzle tov as well for my daughter-in-law?
Who's that?
Yes.
Muriel.
Yes, yes, certainly, Muriel.
Did she also get a prize?
Achievers Award at the last Sunday night. Dahlia Katz, she goes under, with Terry Fitting of Marks as part of the Angel Network. So
Mazel tov.
A
They do
grace and
marvelous
mazel
work.
tov.
Grace and
Muriel.
mazel
Mazel work.
Yeah.
Leine will etwas sagen, Leine.
Ich sag Mazel Tov to Muriel.
I don't dear. Elaine.
Good, wir sollen noch haben Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov.
Rabbeinu Shalom, and noch haben Simchas. And
Avada.
that's the main thing. Wir sollen noch sein gesund. And we're coming towards Hanukkah, and may our whole life in 2022 be lichtig.
Amen.
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 Gesund allemaal. Good Shabbos. Ik
Geht weg.
Okay, so when I
good
don't
Shabbos,
just
good Shabbos.
woman.
Good Shabbos allemaal.
Yeah, it was
Good
good
Shabbos.
If there is so good Shabbos. And a
Good
good
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos allemaal.
Dank je.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos. And Debbie Shapiro, a grace of dank.
Debbie put a chat in. She wanted to know the song and the words.
Yes, please.
Which song? Which song?
Saba Alberstein.
Oh, Margaritkelach. I've got it. You can also Google, if you Google Margaritkelach and plus lyrics, you'll get it. It's very, very long. That's why there was no ways that I was going to, I physically type it up. I physically type up everything that you see on the screen.
Oh,
it takes me about 2 days to get that presentation done.
I send it all over the world. I really appreciate it.
Veronica, is it a marigold?
No, I found it as daisies.
Oh, okay. It sounds similar to a marigold, eh?
Yeah, no, I said in the beginning, Margaritkelach are daisies.
Daisies.
Well, that's what it says on the internet. Because I don't always find that the translation on the internet, nobody sort of checks it. So sometimes it's very good and sometimes it's not so good. So I won't swear to anything. But the one I found said daisies.
Good. Oh, that's
I just
good.
loved those little girls who wanted to learn Yiddish. I thought they were too
Scottish and Yemen, what a combination.
I know, and she was a cheeky little thing. If you looked at her, she was very cheeky.
My grandson, Veronica, my grandson's friend got married in Israel. Zog ich, who is the color? No, her father is Scottish, and what did he wear? He wore a kilt, and it was a frum wedding.
Why not?
Sorry, Veronica.
Yes.
Veronica, I've made you co-host. I will have to leave now.
Thank
but,
you.
When you're ready, you can leave the meeting. You can just end it.
Okay. Thanks, Adira, for everything.
It's only a pleasure. Good Shabbos to
Thank you.
everybody.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So no, it was a frum wedding, and he arrives with a kilt. Can you imagine 20 Rabbonim in Yerushalayim and a kilt? But
why not? It's national. It's ethnic.
Yes.
It's tolerated. I mean,
yes.
But
Veronica, it looks a bit incongruous when man said the frume Yidden, and not so much with the pious, but a lot of them were. But they loved it, and I'm surprised he didn't bring his bagpipes because he plays the bagpipes as well. How do you play Adon Olam with bagpipes? En wer will noch etwas sagen? I see Theo Ferber sitzt dort, sei fein und still, Ferber, with his yummy. Is he unmuted? Theo?
Just quickly, I looked up Daisy in Weinreiche. That's a Margaritke.
Yes.
So it's.
And what's a marigold?
I wouldn't worry. It's not so well known in Israel.
Yeah,
and Narcissim is a well-known flower in Israel. What's not?
Narcissus, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Narcissim. The ones that have songs written about them. That's the ones that you.
And honey, what's
Shoshana is a rose, I think. Shoshanat Yaakov.
Yeah.
Sorrel,
wo bist du? Sorrel Kerbel, I heard Philip speaking to Sorrel.
In London, ich meine.
London, is nog een Londoner.
Yes. And at my Tuchter's wedding, Chasna, she also married a Scot here, and they came down with bagpipes. But they have their own kilt, you know. It's specially designed for non-clansmen. It's got blue in it. It's very nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so each clan has their own kilt, in other words. Is that what you say?
Exactly. But you can't have a clan that you don't belong to, like a Campbell or a MacDonald. So there is a special clan, a special kilt designed for other people. And actually the royal family have their own kilt design, because they also, theirs is in green, I think. But the royal family don't have any actual Scottish connections, apart from the Bowes-Lyon mother-in-law, and she was half Jewish.
Not until you fall
Complicated. Thank you very much. Lovely. Any trout?
Can somebody switch off? Yeah.
I know Jaime's playing the bagpipes for us.
Oh, okay.
Bagpipes. Jaime.
I played in a pipe band for 15 years.
Ah.
Fantastic.
Jaime and the drums.
Letzte Freitag, wir haben gespielt Musik für die alten Menschen. Und sie haben getanzt und gesungen mit uns. Mit ons genoemd zijn on a trip down memory lane. Het is gewoon wonderlijk te zien.
Wo ist das gewesen? Which altar mention?
Highlands House?
Retirement homes.
A retirement home. I don't.
Seapoint Place, Highlands House, all the different retirement homes. Every week we played one.
No, well, you can only play. Jaime, you can only play in the afternoon. The morning you played for us.
Participate, yeah. Oh, and there's Theo. Theo Musicant. You can say hello. You can unmute. Renee, can you unmute him?
Yeah, Musicant.
Theo, if you unmute.
I must go, sorry. Bye.
Okay, bye, Sarah.
Rosa, we haven't heard from Rosa for a long time. Rosa Collison. Rosa, was machst du?
Where is Rosa? Ich hab nicht gesehen.
Yes.
Da ist Rosa. Sie ist in mein Blog. Sie ist mein Schreiner.
Hallo Rosa.
Ich hear das. Ich hab Grace. Ich hab enjoyed.
Grace hat Noah gehabt. Gut verbringt.
Good verbringt, yes.
She's given Mama Shafagenigan. It was an absolute Fagenigan for me. It was just wonderbar.
We'll ask her again, Veronica. We'll get her to speak.
Well,
okay.
Yeah. Give her a bit of a break, I think.
Yeah, we'll give her a few months. Then we'll call her back. So she can talk about a lot of things, can't she? Was she a guide or was it her sister?
No, her sister, oh, sorry. Her sister is a guide in Lithuania. She's just newly retired. She was in IT. And I'm sure she's got a lot to offer, but I'm not sure. You know, even her own life story would be of great interest. Her parents, how they escaped the Holocaust. And
yes,
I just know really very little. So I would be interested, to know the background. How, both her parents, I think her mother was hidden and her father, I think, was in Siberia, I think, but
weren't they speaking about Uzbekistan?
She did mention Uzbekistan, so I just know.
Razor's parents also in Uzbekistan.
I just know little bits, and not enough to talk about. So I think she would put together something, given an opportunity, which I'm sure would be of interest.
Yes.
The person I asked her about, Simon Davidovich, who was also from Kovna, who died only about a year ago in his early 60s. His parents hid in the woods. He just said that they hid in the woods during the Holocaust, and that's how they survived. And he was also born well after the Holocaust.
Yes. So Asia, her sister Asia and
Same
herself,
time, they must have been
obviously
of
were
much of
born.
an age. Yeah.
Yes, were born
Then.
after the Holocaust. Absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
sag gesund.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Theo, can you say hello now, Theo? I thought you were unmuted. Okay, somebody's technology is a bit. Theo? Hi, Theo.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
I don't know whose technology is doing that. Nicht wichtig. Yeah. Who's left? Rosa. But we can't see her.
I'm here.
Yeah. And Tzippi Abramovitz.
Ja,
Ja, wo
ich bin
bist du?
da.
Ja, wo bist du? In Durham, Afrika oder?
Ich bin in Glenhazel, in der Städtel.
Ah, in der Städtel, in das Städtel Glenhazel. Gut.
Ja.
Und ja, es ist dem ersten Mal, was du bist zusammen mit uns.
Nein, das ist die zweite Mal.
Zweite Mal, gut.
2 weeks ago, לפני שבועיים.
Ja. Ich euch, ist für mich eine Sache leichter zu reden Hebräisch wie zu reden Jiddisch, aber okay. Mit 2 Wochen zurück. Mit 2 Wochen zurück.
Das ist was, ja.
Gut. Ja.
In 1 Woche zurück, ich habe gewinnt zum Optometrist, als ich habe nicht gekannt kommen.
Ich verstehe. Von wann ist dein Jiddisch? Von deinen Eltern oder?
Meine Eltern hat geredet Jiddisch. Ich habe nicht geredet Jiddisch. Ich habe alles Ding versteht. Ich habe nicht geantwortet in Jiddisch. Ich habe geantwortet in Englisch.
Englisch, ja. Das ist ein alter Meister.
Ja. Jetzt ist es mit unseren Menschen in Drum-Afrika. Sie reden Zulu, die Älteren und die Kinder antworten in Englisch. Dieselbe Sache.
Okay. Ja, einmal haben sie für uns, wenn ich bin gewesen Bibliothekarische beim Cape Town Universität, sie haben für uns gemacht einen Kurs in Isikosa. Also ich habe ein bisschen gelernt. 6 Wochen von Isikosa. Ich habe alles Ding habe ich vergessen.
Ein Mensch vergisst, als du hörst nicht und du redest nicht die Safa, die
Sprache.
Die Loschen.
Oder Sprache.
Die Sprache, ja.
Ja. Aber ja. Ja. Weiß nicht, wer.
Die Dialects von die Menschen von die Platz ist anders in jedem Platz. Ich habe gewinnt in Orange Free State, wenn ich habe gewinnt a Kleininka. Ich habe geredet Sesotho. Es ist nicht dieselbe Sesotho, was sie reden da in Johannesburg.
Okay. Wir haben einen in unser Blog von Orange Free State und redet flüssig Sesotho. Ja. Es hilft, in unser nahe Dorf Afrika, es hilft, zu wissen, wie zu reden, als Sprach von unseren schwarzen Menschen.
Es ist also, aber die Menschen, die jungen Menschen, sie wollen reden Englisch. Sie reden
Avada.
Sie reden ein sehr guter Englisch.
Ja.
Die junge Leute.
Ja. Okay, אפשר מדפן sagen Shabbat Shalom und ja, wir wollen sehen Freitag, die kommende Freitag, ich hoffe.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Dank zu allem.
Dank.
Okay, bye. Bye. Sei gesund.
Sei gesund allem.